Welcome back to 10 Times Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie Brown, and across from me is my co-host, Dusty Nixon, all the way from Texas. And our goal tonight is to have a show without internet falling apart. And I can't guarantee
it's a lofty expectation. But
yep. I don't know, this past weekend I was like, so I got that laptop, and apparently it's like a known fault is that the network adapter is just hot garbage, and you just replace that. I'm like, fuck, okay. So I look it up, and they got network adapters that are like $20, and it's like the best thing you can get. Okay, easy. Knock that out. Still sucks. Okay, maybe it's just the Wi-Fi. Replace the router. Got this fancy Asus gaming router that has like all these antennas and shit. And
does it have like multi LEDs?
Yes. Yep. And you can go to the website. It has your own little website, and you can change all those settings, and you have all this control, and it can reach to the shop easy. It can reach every inch of this house easy. And
so you're doing a podcast.
Oh, this is hardwired. But it's just like it doesn't seem like it's still fast enough for what I'm paying for, because I have gigabit internet, and it sure doesn't act like it. So then you do the spectrum test, and it's like, yeah, you have 1,200 megabytes a second going to your modem.
It's like the fuel economy gauge in the dash of your full size truck. Oh yeah, this is the real number, we promise.
I'm sure I do. And then I do the internet speed test, and it's like 50. What the fuck? So I'm going down this like crazy rabbit hole of just like, am I just gonna replace everything before I figure out what's going on? Because like this is hardwired to the router. I'm not getting no gigabit internet here. So, but I also realized that the network adapter on this is a gigabit adapter, but it's set at the 100 megabyte second setting. And if I try to run it at the gigabit thing, then it just doesn't work at all. So I haven't dove it deep enough into it yet, but we're getting there.
Wait, so within your household, is that in the middle of the line or more toward the end of the line?
So this is a long line. So I have this cable that goes all the way across, all the way over to where the modem and the router is over there. So that's a long line, and I'm in the country, so it probably 1,200.
It's like multiplied if you're out of city. Yeah,
1,200 megabytes a second leaving spectrum, but by the time it gets to the end of the internet here by me, everyone's got a piece of that pie, and I got no pie. I'm sure that's
modern problems.
Yeah, first world problems is me complaining about my gigabit internet not being fast enough.
It's only like 600. Ugh.
Well, when I got the router and I'm getting it all set up, and I was just like, Jess, check this out. And I'm doing the internet speed test, and it's like pegging up to like 700. Fuck yeah! It did that like one day.
They were like, all right, he's past the window. He's past the 24-hour window.
Yep.
Pull him back. Throttle him on back.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe like this weekend too, it was snowy and rainy and crappy, and it just seems like that makes it worse. And I don't know if it's just in my head, but it just feels like it's worse. So it's like maybe I feel worse because
you're in a bad mood anyway.
Why is the internet so fucking slow? But I don't know.
Maybe it's just because the sun goes down at 4:30 every day.
There is that. Yep. Driving home with the sun like right into my eyeballs.
You should try leaving work when it's already down.
Yeah.
And driving home in the dark. Yeah.
I drive to work in the dark, but then I drive home in the sun for like the last 30 minutes of sun.
Yeah. Yep. This is always the time of year where I look around every day and just go, why?
Yep. This sucks. It's no good. But just old men yelling at clouds about technology.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, this time change talk was brought to you by Insure. Tune in next week when we discuss the weather and
vitamin C. I don't know, vitamin C supplements that I take.
Yeah,
it's the emergency supplement day or every day type of time of the year.
Also that,
yeah.
Yeah, somehow I went to the SEMA show, and knock on wood, It's been several days, and I'm not sick yet.
It's not PRI. The PRI flu. Everyone's starting to spread it, and it'll be real. Everyone will be sick, and then they'll all go to PRI.
Yeah. Plus, so I've determined over the last like year and a half that every time I've gotten on an airplane to go somewhere, if Adam Jabay was there, or it doesn't even have to be an airplane. It happened in Austin too, and I drove there.
Yep.
If Adam Jabay is going to be there, I'm going to get sick about 6 days out beforehand. And then so by the airplane, it's going to be like, I feel good enough to go, but my head's still all blah, 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 and my ears on the airplane are going to be just like, yeah. And Jabay wasn't at SEMA. I was perfectly healthy the entire time.
And still healthy.
Weird.
Yep. Did you get sick after going to Road America?
No, I was leading up to it.
That's right.
Yeah, I felt like absolute crap like 5 days out from that. And
Yep.
then had the like my ears and my nose were still all junky whenever I got on the plane. And then it force like shoves everything way down deep into your ear canal. So the first 2 days I'm at Road America, I can't like I don't need earplugs. I can just stand next to the loud cars because I can't hear anything.
Oof.
I can't hear myself talk. I can't. Yeah, it's just misery.
Are you going to PRI?
We do not have plans to go to PRI currently.
So I moved about 500 miles closer to it. I'm not going either.
So it was cool, and I think I talked about it after we went, but like it was cool to see all of the like hardcore race parts stuff.
Oh yeah.
But the crowd was so like the crowd was so thick, and the show is on the smaller side, like total floor space wise, and it was just I found it really hard to actually talk to the people that I wanted to talk to. Because there was always 5 people standing in their booth and there's 3 people working it. And like, well, we're here for 2 days. I don't have 45 minutes to kill waiting for you to get done speccing this guy's entire drive line for him during this show. Like I've got like 3 basic questions I want to ask you. And I can't.
Yep. No, I would say, yeah, first couple of years, and that was also when I was like the time trials director, where I really had things I wanted to accomplish by meeting people there, and then it got into just the social aspect of the friends that were there, and then it got to the point where I felt like it was really repetitive. So I definitely need like I needed the break before I started going back again. I felt like, or
Yeah.
the desire to do something with it. Whereas this year, there's nothing for me there this year. I'm not going to buy anything. I don't need to watch the awards at Grid Life because like I'm not gonna pay $40 to get in just to watch my friends get trophies.
Yeah.
So,
And that kind of stuff for the business that I'm in now, it feels like I go out there every couple of years kind of thing.
yeah.
And SEMA, I think SEMA is kind of the same way now. Also, just there's from year to year, there's not that much changing. You know,
Yep.
a lot of our buddies that we know from the Optima stuff, or then that I met through the Optima stuff at different companies that we did stuff with, like with Willow Brakes and that kind of stuff. But it's if you go every year, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, here's the same. Like I'm working the show with Traxxas at SEMA for 8 out of 9 or like 7 out of 9 years that I was there. I was like, you see the same people every year.
Yep.
You're
Yep.
like, oh yeah, hey, how's it going? Yep, I remember talking to you last year. Yep.
Yeah.
You still got 57 monster trucks. Awesome.
Yeah, you got to break it up. So, yeah, I think a year off and then maybe have that desire to go back next year. And who knows, maybe I'll have some crazy wild hair brain idea that I need to talk to somebody about and buy something.
Be working on partnerships for 2027.
There you go.
Have one next year.
Yeah, there you go. High hopes for 26, leading it, yeah, something like that.
Now we're making plans for 2 years from now.
Yeah, see, there you go. But yeah, you actually went to SEMA this year.
Yeah. We so I changed jobs in June of 2024. So before that, whenever I was at Traxxas, I went from 2015 to 2019, and then there wasn't a show in 2020. We didn't go back in 21, and then I went in 22 and 23. So like this year had been 10 years since I had started going to the show. So it was kind of interesting to, like, it hit me at some point while we were there of like, okay, it was 2015 was the first time I was here, and just thinking about like how many things have changed and how many things are still, you know, really similar to what they were. But like one of the kind of crazy things that occurred to me versus those early trips that I went is there's a lot more like 20-something looking dudes walking around that look like they're like working in shops. And it just, in general, like I feel like whenever I was there the first time, it looked more like the crowd that I would see at NHRA races. You know, it's a lot of gray hair, you know, like
Working it, you mean?
kind of street, just like coming and attending the show, you know, that are people that are within the industry, you know, that are working at shops and, you know, building engines, building custom cars, you know, doing and all that kind of stuff. Like, and I think there's been a swing over the last like 4 or 5 years, partially with like how like schools are approaching things. I think like some of the vocational programs and stuff like that are coming back. And then also I feel like Hoonigan and Cletus McFarland and all these different YouTubers that, you know, these 20-something guys that are having a blast dicking around with cars. I feel like that's pulled more people into the hobby. Like I always hear negativity about how, you know, car racing is dying, motorsport's dying, car, you know, all this stuff. But it's compared to what I was seeing in 2015, I feel like there's a lot more younger people there. And, you know, a lot of them are driving big lifted dump trucks, but
my feed seemed to really fill up with big trucks. That seemed to be a theme. Like there was a lot of like influencers that I don't follow, and I assume it's because I looked at other SEMA stuff. So then it would just like, we think you should see this, and then it's always just like some influencer that I've never heard of doing car things, and then big trucks. So like I assumed that was probably more to do with the Instagram algorithm getting screwed up rather than the actual event itself. At least I was kind of hoping that was the case.
It was overrun, but yeah, it's a big industry. Like it's a big part of the industry is all the diesel performance stuff. And for some reason, these giant trucks that aren't really useful for anything have become like a significant portion of how that, like, I think most of the guys that have shops that are building those trucks, they're just like illegally deleting and putting tunes on trucks for people that are just using them to just tow things. And like, maybe they're putting big wheels on it, but they're not doing necessarily the crazy big lifted stuff. But it's a part of all of it that I can't understand and won't see any logic in. But it's also keeping the whole like rising tides raise all ships, you know, kind of thing. Like it's whatever. But alongside all of that, like it remains the coolest place to just go and see every type of car imaginable all in one place. Like there was a 68 C10 that I posted some pictures of on the podcast account and mine, that it was just chilling in a row of cars that was like off to one far end of the North Hall. And it's like one of the nicest, like all around builds of a C10 that I've ever seen. And it's just
chilling.
It's just in a row of like 25 cars.
So of the 50 pictures you sent me, that's not
that one's, I don't know if that one's in there. So I have a funny thing whenever I'm walking around at a show with a camera in my hand or a phone, because like there was one day that I just left my camera in my bag.
Sure.
And then I'm like grabbing pictures with my phone. Well, then the next day I have a camera in my hand, so I'm not grabbing anything with my phone. And like the ones I sent you were all the ones that were in my phone. But
yep.
You can look at it on the 1010s podcast Instagram if you would like. Hey, plug in the socials.
Excellent work out of you.
So I'll just run through the 60 some odd that I sent you and just kind of go through it. So
yeah,
we started out at the Apex show because it was me and my dad that went, and we did go.
What's the Apex show?
So SEMA and Apex are happening at the same time during the week. Apex is at a separate convention center at the Venetian, and it's all of the like OEM replacement type parts. So it's all the companies that make like shocks and struts and brake rotors and hoses and belts. And it's so like my parents had gone out there like 3 years ago, main warehouse that we buy through. And it was primarily to go to the Apex show, but then they also were able to go to SEMA while they were there. So we went to kind of like track down some things on some of the stuff that's happening with our supplier relationships, which are just like everything in the United States economy, things getting bought up by giant companies and then them not being the same thing that they were anymore.
I believe that.
Yeah. So kind of going around to talk to the people that do our computer system, and then just kind of get a feel from some of the other people that have relationships with these companies that we're working with, and be like, so what's your take on everything that's happening right now? But so yeah, ran through Apex, got our stuff that we wanted to do with our computer system company, and like just taking in all of this stuff that is, just the auto parts side of thing, which isn't really that big of a part of our business anymore. But it's wild to me to go through there and see like there's like 27 different companies on one row that all just have the same like wheel hubs and shocks and like control arms. And I'm like, I don't.
Why
I guess whenever I go to Rock Auto, I see that there's 17 brands of that one ball joint, but it never processed with me that they're all going to a trade show right next to each other.
And they're genuinely competing with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And I for the life of me, I don't see any differentiation between them.
There isn't. That's all the same.
Yeah. And I'm looking at them legitimate, and I'm going like, all right, are y'all just different? Did y'all come from the same factory? Like or all the stuff that you have here, are you just putting it in a different box? Like what?
Yeah. The only thing different is the sticker with the logo on it.
Like he said in Tommy Boy, if you want me to take a dump in a box and
exactly.
Right, guaranteed on it.
I got spare time.
Yeah. But in the meantime, for your company's sake, for your daughter's sake.
Oh God.
So that show is like a lot more. It's like khakis and dress shirts, and it's a little more button down.
But yeah, a lot of blazers.
Yeah.
Everyone's very serious.
I don't have much from that. The wild thing to me that every time I turned around, it was like Hunter that makes like the alignment machines and tire machines and stuff, and then like 4 or 5 other companies. They're all doing calibration equipment for the ADAS systems, like the driver assist systems. It was every time I turned around, it was a thing to calibrate the cameras and the radars and stuff. Because anytime you touch a modern car now, you have to mess with that stuff.
It's like changing a windshield and shit too. You gotta like you can't just like swap a windshield.
Yeah. So that it was everywhere. And it was just like, okay, I guess this is huge business, but we don't touch cars. So it is completely to us. Thank God.
Yeah.
So like one of the first picture that I have in there is the car that won the first Indy 500. That's the like more, I can't remember what the name of it is. It's got some weird, like, I remembered it because I had an Indy 500 PC game whenever I was a kid, and it had like, whenever it was loading, the loading screens were like trivia about different cars that won it through the years.
Okay. Yeah. So
And
like,
this one won the very first one in like 1903 or something like that.
can you imagine driving that at full speed?
Oh yeah, because it like it still ran like 100 miles per hour or something like really dumb, and
with a leather helmet.
Yeah, and it looks a horse hook to the front of it. Like,
yeah,
it definitely looks like it's an inch from being on fire, even though it had no fluids in it right now. Like just sitting there at the show, it looks ready to catch on fire.
Yep. And the 3-inch wide tires, the no seat belt. We die like men.
Exactly. And I think it like it was a big thing at the time because it was the first one that didn't have a mechanic riding with him.
Jeez.
Like it was like the first race car that ever was just the driver. So, and then in contrast to that, a little ways down the road, there's like a 2018 Alpine Formula One car.
Yeah.
And it's not a show car. It's the actual thing. It's got little carbon flips and flops and doodads all over it. Just tons and tons and tons of cool details all over it. And, from the last of the cars, whenever they were just really over the top with all of the little airflow modifiers from front to back, top to bottom on the car.
Everything has this extra little winglet on it.
Yeah. So like,
And there's
along the edge of the floor, there's this little, like probably 8-inch long section that's just little flat, like maybe inch and a quarter tall by like 2 inches wide, just little like fins. And each one of those has a little titanium, like swan neck piece sticking up over it that holds it in place.
Yep.
And I can stare at it all day and just try to, like they talk about Adrian Newey being able to look at a car and see how the airflow is around it. And I'm looking at it and I don't know. I don't understand.
Yep.
And thinking about the fact that you're doing on the front of the side pod or on the front wing, and that's affecting how it works. Like this piece way up here is affecting how the wing is, or the diffuser or something underneath the floor. This is cutting the drag from this speed to this speed at this track, that kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's super cool to see that kind of stuff in person at shows like that. So
yeah, I always appreciate when they bring the real F1 cars out.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a couple of, I don't remember what year it was. There was one year that it might've been the first year that they were doing the race in Vegas that Williams brought a show car and then an actual car. And they were just like, they didn't have ropes around them or anything. You could just like, you could stick your head over and look into the cockpit of an actual, like straight up, like fairly current. It was at the time, it was like a year or two old. And I was talking to the guy from Williams. I was like, how? Woo. And he said that one of the guys in the team was just a car guy and knew of the show. And they just kind of last minute, it was like, oh, we've got cars over here. Let's just set up let's get a booth at it, and had a simulator set up in it. And it was just a thing just for Williams. Like they just did it just because it was cool.
I wonder if it's the same car they had at PRI last year or the year before.
Yeah,
I think they had like a very similar setup at PRI. It was like just and there wasn't anything about it. It was just like an F1 car and a simulator, like in the simulator section.
Yeah, and because I think that they have something in the like product wise in the realm of the sim stuff, but I'm not sure. I don't remember specifically what it was, but there was some like loose tie-in. But the guy the year that I talked to him, he was just like, yeah, we just did it because it's cool. I was like, you're right, it is cool.
It is cool.
I think I ended up buying a shirt of like one of their team shirts over the winter that year, just because I was like, yeah, I want to give you guys some outrageous amount of money for a dumb T-shirt, but
yep.
So yeah, there's one picture in there that is one of these like 57 different companies that just has like a line of struts sitting on white boxes in the booth, and I just don't understand. But
yeah, looks like all the other struts that go from the factory.
Yeah. And then the wild thing too was that show was like probably half to 60% just companies that were just straight here from China. Like it's not,
it's like like the stuff you see on Amazon for like $13.
Yes. And I mean, I don't know price point wise what it was, but it's like very obvious. Like this is a company that flew over here from China. They're selling stuff directly through outlets here. Like there's not any American affiliation of this at all. And it was like at least half the show. That was wild to me.
Interesting.
And I don't is this all stuff that's just fun, or because like I don't like O'Reilly and AutoZone and that kind of stuff. Like you have like like for a suspension part, you have like Moog and like your couple. There's kind of like I feel like Moog is kind of the premium, and then there'll be some kind of mid range, and then like the Duralast,
like your good, better, best, or
whatever the private label brand is. Yeah, and like I'm baffled. Like what are the other 35 of you that are here selling those? Like where are you? There was one booth that just had like engine castings, like just like a small block Chevy block casting, different cylinder head castings, and just handwritten notes next to them.
What?
And then handwritten note of what it is, and then the only signs in the booth that were printed were the ones that had a camera with a line through it that said no photo. It's like, why are you upset about me taking a picture of your bare block casting in the trade show that you brought it to? It's just very, very confusing state of affairs in this side of the that I hadn't seen before.
Interesting. Yeah, my cousin was here for a concert last week, and which is why we didn't do a show. Obviously, that was the reason. Not because you're at SEMA, but
I was waiting on the Zoom call in the hotel room one night.
I know you were. I was at I went to a concert on a Wednesday night. Stayed out late. I was very tired. I'm still tired. It's been a week.
You must still be tired.
It's been a week. I'm still tired. But he was saying that the company he works for, they had, I don't know if it was like an affiliated company with them, had sent a lawnmower over there to one of the Chinese companies, because you couldn't send them drawings. So what you did was you just bought the product that you were that you needed your thing for, and you just shipped the whole thing to them, and they copied the mower, like counterfeit the whole thing, and didn't flip it upside down to realize that it needs blades. So it was like they had a completely manufactured mower with no blades, completely missing the point of what it was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So my first job out of college was we sold battery backup systems for like computers and networks and stuff, and it was all we set specs, but all we really did was just we had a product manager that went over there, and he just went around to the different factories and was like, all right, what have you got that's kind of like this? And they'd be like, oh, this. And it was just a really interesting way to do business.
Yes. Yep.
and you just accept the failure rate when they get here, and I don't it there's a lot of different paths to go down of that discussion.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
But I don't know, it was wild to see how much of the show was that kind of stuff versus, you know, the companies that we know that have all been gobbled up by these, you know, holding company, private equity company deals. So
Yeah.
But they also have podcast studios at Apex.
Was it just like packed full of podcasters?
Oh yeah, there was people podcasting it up,
Talking about all the OEMs. Yeah, totally.
yeah, most of them on Tuesday morning, which they're primarily it was like industry like, you know, like how are you running your garage, you know, that kind of.
Wait a second. So you sent this picture in the group, and it had like a booth, like almost like a radio booth. So it's got like glass walls and whatnot. And it's for doing podcasting for this auto care on air. I didn't realize that there's also like booths upon booths upon booths behind this that are also podcasts.
There was like at least 12 or 15 of them. And I'm very puzzled as to who they were.
Is that what we're doing wrong? That we didn't go to SEMA and just sit in a booth all day? That seems really strange to me.
The Great Canadian Aftermarket Podcast, presented by Castrol.
They're clearly doing something right. We're not presented by Castrol. We are presented by Petrobox, but
yeah,
it's not Castrol.
King of Motorsports.
Yeah.
Factory fabrication sometimes.
Use that
maybe we still are after the last episode.
Yeah, use that code TTP15. Otherwise, you don't get your intake back.
So yeah, it was rows upon rows of these studios, and like in both SEMA and Apex. I mean, everywhere you turn, there's somebody recording video.
So that doesn't surprise me as much about SEMA, because it does seem to have that influencer attachment. Because there seems to be a lot of influencers that first like go out of their way to be at SEMA every year.
Yeah,
and we're in the auto, like, you know, I follow a bunch of automotive people, so obviously it's going to seem like everyone does that, but
yeah, every time I turned around, I was in somebody's shot of them talking to somebody in a booth. I was like, good God. Like, give it a break. So yeah, I've now that we've talked about this, I'm going to get in there and I want to get in there and look and see what are the other podcasts, like, because I think it's all, in which I know a lot of it is it's either driven by like publishing companies that are doing like trade, like magazines and stuff like that. Yeah. Because we get 5 or 6 like aftermarket news and engine builder and all that kind of stuff. And like, I know all of that kind of stuff that company is producing these podcasts, whether anyone is listening to it or not. I would be very curious to see the metrics on it.
The real metrics, not the square, not the Squarespace metrics that we started this out with.
Yeah, not the media kit metrics, because there's media kit metrics and there's actual metrics.
Yes,
especially on trade publications. But so yeah, we kind of swam through Apex pretty quick and then hopped on. They run a shuttle between the 2 convention centers and moseyed our way over to SEMA, and immediately like walk in the doors and get like halfway down a hall, and there's an FRS with an LS in it that's got an 8-into-1 header in the front and rear mount radiator, and I don't know if it's a Rocket Bunny or what kit it is. Wide body, big fat lip wheel, 3-piece wheels, and it's just like it's finished out on the, like I'm constantly looking for like what does our Camaro look like whenever it's finished. Like I want it like finished race car kind of look on the inside.
Yep.
And I get over in the interior of this one, I was like, well, that's pretty good right there. Like we've been at this show for like 7 minutes.
First thing that jumps out at you, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, this is freaking nice.
Yeah. So, and that guy, I don't remember what his name was, but he had a some kind of like off-road vehicle in the SEMA Battle of the Builders too. So,
Oh,
I
neat.
was like, okay, you build cool stuff for a living. Got it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks super well done. Like it doesn't look like
just
anything's
full-
missing. Yeah.
Yeah, full cage, like sparse dash, but it doesn't have that, like there's race car functional, but you can also do race car functional in a way that looks really clean and really like finished and put together. And yeah, that was like this thing's pretty much it. Yeah, all the way around. And like one of the wilder things I hadn't seen before is it's got a handbrake in it, but they like did a push rod mount and did the master for the handbrake like toward the rear of the transmission tunnel. So like the handle's up at the front, and it looks like a remote mount shifter or something. It's just got this rod that runs back down the top of the transmission tunnel. It's just kind of like, I guess it gets it to where you don't have brake lines running everywhere inside the car or something. But it's just one of those weird details that like kind of jumps out to my weird brain. So
What was that car? Spiker. Was it Spiker that had the shifter that did that too, or it's like the linkage went like down the center console?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, because they had, and everything was billet and polished. And,
Of course.
Yeah, it was like it looked like you took a Rolex and just kind of exploded it and made it way bigger, and then just placed it neatly around the car in different places.
Yep, that would be it.
So yeah, the main hall at SEMA is still pretty much this. So they've added, like, they opened a whole new, it's called the West Hall, that's like across the road from the main halls that were the main part of the show whenever I started going there. And so it's like the conventions, there's like twice as much floor space as what there was before. Like the West Hall is gigantic, and it spreads it out even more. So like one of the days we got there early and we were just roaming around at like the main part of the convention center, which is the South, Central, and North halls. And we're like, well, I wanted to get over and just kind of float through the West Hall, which is like the like detailing and wraps and off-road and overland and that kind of stuff. Well, you can take the Tesla tunnel to go over there.
Like the Boring Company tube to get over there?
So this was billed as it's going to be a Hyperloop.
Yes.
Hyperloop, which was like, that's the thing where they're going to like pull a vacuum on the tube in the car, and it's going to move like 500 miles an hour. So what we've ended up with the Tesla loop is literally a tunnel through the ground with a guy driving you in a Model 3.
Okay, I thought that's all it was.
Yeah.
'Cause I've seen clips of, it's like a taxi service, but you only get to do it if you're in a Tesla.
It's just like to do the one from the Central Hall to the West, we had to walk down like 7 flights of stairs to get down to the level that it's on. And then we get down there and it's literally just like parking spaces with Teslas pulling up in them with people driving. Like they're not even self-driving.
Right.
Even though all they do is just
so you start
go through a tunnel.
Yeah, you start underground and then you drive through a tunnel and then you end up still underground.
So going to the West Hall, it comes back up to ground level.
Okay.
But yeah.
So you took a subway.
A subway technically would have carried more people at a time than the one, or I guess it was technically a Model Y. It was the SUV version of the smaller one.
3?
The 3 is the car. I think the Y is the SUV version of the 3.
Sure.
This is an automotive podcast.
You unless they're all lined up in front of me, I don't have a fucking clue what they are. I know what an S is, and I think I know what a 3 looks like.
Yeah, so this was the SUV version of the 3, whichever one that is. I'm pretty sure it's the Y. Anyway, I've done it. I've used it twice, and it's like it's kind of cool. It saves you time, but also it's like it just feels so dumb that it's just a guy driving you in a car that's supposed to have self-driving in it, and you're in a tunnel and there's nothing else around.
Because it's one way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not a.
Because it just does it. It does a loop.
It's a literal loop.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Glad we got that cleared up because.
Yeah. So. Yeah, roaming through like the main halls, it's kind of the same. A lot of the same stuff that it's always been.
Sure.
Like back several years ago, like whenever I first started going, Ford had a huge booth that went through like the middle of the central hall, and it was always like crazy lighting and sound system and a big video board, and they did a lot of tie-ins with Ken Block and whenever he was still under contract with, like, it was always this huge production. It was always this wild thing. They always made a splash with whatever they did there because it was always something unique.
Yep.
And they pulled out of the show in like 2019, probably. I don't remember how long ago it was, but Toyota ended up taking over that space, and they just drop cars in it, and they have like auto show people there talking about them, and it's like one end of it's got like TRD off-roady overlandy type things, and then the other end's got the GR like, you know, Supra and like the GT4 car, and like, and there's nothing there's nothing happening. It's just static cars sitting there. It's just people that work for an agency standing there talking about them. They have no clue. Like, they don't actually work for Toyota. And it just, and they started doing this like 4 years ago. And I thought, man, this is such a big opportunity to like a lot of the stuff they've done with the GR stuff has some cool like soul and story behind it. And this booth is just, it is the Toyota Camry of SEMA booths. It just, like, come on, guys! Like, you're investing a lot of money in this. Like, put a little creativity and like a little bit of heart into it. And
just do something to bring the people in.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of people in there. Like, and there's cool cars in there. Like, they always have some cool builds and stuff. But it just, the presentation of it just doesn't. It feels out of place. Like, it feels like they're set up from the Detroit Auto Show, and they just dropped it into this aftermarket show. You know, where, you know, there's up outside where there's Australian burnout cars just launching it to $9,000 and exploding tires, and, you know, everybody walking around in here has tattoos and crazy hair, and like, you know, it's just like it still feels like, several years into it, it still feels like a weird fit whenever I'm walking through there. But it's like, yeah, they had a GR Corolla, like, I guess it's like a GR car that looked pretty cool. I mean, it looks like an SRO car.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just a prototype or actually running that.
So I've never seen it run anywhere.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's actually, yeah, because it's got an SRO like TC number plate on it,
right? But it's only got the HRC logo on it. You know what I mean? Am I looking at the right car? You're looking at the white car. I'm looking at the black car. You're on the Hondas? I am on the Hondas. They're all the same.
GR versus HR.
Yeah, I got confused. It's a black car with white lettering on it.
Yeah.
All right, back on the Toyotas. I'm back. We're good. I'm not tired.
So, anyway, they had that one, and like the Supra GT, whatever the new version of the Supra GT4 car is.
Yep.
That I don't I don't know if it's back in favor with people that are doing that kind of stuff yet or not. I don't, but, but the crowning achievement of their booth, however, they have an electric car called like the BR4ZX or something like that.
No idea.
I have no idea what the actual name of it is. It's something involving B's and Z's and fours and stuff. It's electric, like crossover SUV kind of thing. And they had a time attack build of one there. It's like and then like a big block of black in the middle and red on the back. And it's got like Apex wheels with those actually, I think those are Apexes, but
no. Those are BBSs. Everybody knows that. I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't tell in my compressed.
I'm going to go BBS just because I zoomed in and I pretended that's what it was.
Yeah, I was going back and forth whether that was BBS or Apex, but either way, it doesn't matter. It was just kind of because they like build it as like time attack build of it. So it's like, I'd be curious to watch it go just to, just for something different. But, so on the opposite end of OEMs at the SEMA show was Nissan.
Yes.
And Nismo.
Yes.
And Infiniti, who I think have had like a small presence the last few years. But
sorry.
They had so they're tied in really close with Chris Forsberg.
Always.
And so Forsberg has built a new Z that is going to be competing in GLGT next year. So that car is on a 4-post lift in the middle of the booth, like up off the ground.
Yep.
They were like, I think they were selling merch. I don't know. But by the time we got back,
it looks like they are. Yeah.
Yeah. By the time we got back around there, I don't think they were selling. I really wanted a Nismo shirt. And by the time we got back around there, I don't think they were selling them anymore. But so like that's on a lift in the middle of the booth. Like there's a bump in sound system. Forsberg also built a Nissan Pulse with a like crazy big turbo RB in it that looked like those cars that you would see like either climbing sand dunes in Dubai or like swerving side to side on a highway in the middle of the desert at like 120 miles an hour. So like that was super cool just because, it's a Nissan Patrol. We don't ever see that here.
Yeah.
And it's got a 1,200 horsepower engine in it. And then they like also in the back side of the booth, they had an Infiniti setup that had a big Infiniti SUV that makes like 1,000 horsepower with, I don't know if it's a turbo V8 or what. I couldn't get close enough to it to get the details on it because people were swarming around it.
Huh.
And it was just this totally different, like
it fit the vibe of the show.
Exactly. Like it had much more of a, like, we're here, we get this crowd, like they're set up around the patrol. There was actual dirt on the ground, which is weird. I don't know that you're supposed to be able to do that, but they did it anyway.
What are they gonna do? Kick them out? I feel like I've talked to people while setting up that show that would have kicked people out for putting dirt on the ground. And yeah, there was like a Frontier with crazy multicolor wrap, and then it had kayaks mounted on the top of it that matched the wrap. Like it was just like wild stuff. And yeah, because like
it made me proud to be a Nissan boy.
Yeah, like having a brand new Z sitting there in stock form does nothing for anyone at that show.
Yeah,
it actually does negative value.
Yeah, like Toyota had like a stock GR Supra sitting there. I was like, no,
it does nothing for us.
That's $70,000.
It's a lot of money.
Makes no sense to me. But some of the other cool stuff. So this year, the fastest car on Hot Rod Drag Week was a Dodge Viper.
Naturally.
and it's GTS, and it's blue with white stripes, and it's kind of perfect, and it's got a
bajillion and a half horsepower.
yeah, a giant Steve Morris SMX engine in it that makes like thousands of horsepower. He ran like low sixes all week. I think he set the record for the lowest average.
Absolutely nuts.
So the coolest thing about the car is it's got zoomies coming out of the fender, or like, right behind the wheel, and there's 5 of them on each side. And you think, oh, does it have a V10?
No,
Not quite. So the turbo dumps into like kind of a box that has 4 tubes coming out of it, and then the wastegate comes out as the 5th tube. So it technically is functional.
That's clever.
It was one of those, like, whenever I saw the pictures of it originally, whenever he was on Drag Week with it, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I wonder if no, it's not a V10, but, and then seeing that it was actually like hooked to something, it wasn't just 5 dummy pipes over there. It's like, okay, that's acceptable. We'll allow it. So, and
they put some thought into that.
yeah. And then like the hood of that car is really long. Like there should be a lot of real estate there.
It's crazy long.
But whenever you put a big block and like at least 2-inch primary headers, like these things might have been 2 1/4, massive headers and massive charge pipes and like huge turbos. We just stood there staring at the packaging of all of it for several minutes. Like there's just stuff running everywhere. And to think about like taking that car on a 1,000-mile road trip and trying to race it every day and just like cross your fingers that you don't have to pull the whole thing apart in the pit somewhere, or by the side of the road.
Yeah. The idea of driving that down the street is just wild, or like the interstate.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause all those full chassis cars, like the only thing I can think of when I think of riding in them is like I rode in Mike Dussault's Camaro on an autocross one time years ago. And it, like, my lasting impression of it was, one, I was like scared, like straight up on an autocross course, scared, which shouldn't happen. It's an autocross course. But, and second of all, dirt and dust and grass just
everywhere.
And I just, that's what, like, it's a tube chassis car with just panels around the tubes. It has to just leak, and y'all are nuts. You guys are absolutely nuts. So one of the other like highlight things for me was Rad Rides by Troy that's in Illinois. So going back to, this is like the dark gray 36 Chevy, like hot rod kind of thing. So going way back to whenever I was a kid, there was a car in all of the magazines called Sniper. There was like a 54 DeSoto. And it was like this drab green two-tone, slammed, chopped, channeled, had like at that time like new Mercedes headlights, that whenever the Mercedes had like the kind of long oval headlights that sloped way back.
Oh yeah.
And a Viper V10 in it. And it was the coolest car on earth to me. Like it had a Viper motor in it, and it had all of these, like it was obvious from the 50s, but it looked like aliens had dropped it down here from the future. And that was, Troy built that car. And so like Troy's always been like way on the pedestal for me. And so it's a, in name, it's a 36, I think Chevy, maybe Ford.
Wait, I'm looking at the wrong picture again.
But the entire car is scratch built. Like they literally, they took inspiration from the original car, but then nothing on this car is from the original car. Every panel, there's a guy that works for him named Adam Banks, that he built this car from scratch. And like his Instagram is A Banks built, and he has tons of detailed pictures of him like forming the doors and the hood and like the door jamb, like
Doing it the hard way.
like every single piece of this car was built by hand, and it wasn't like they had like a CAD design to go on. They were just building it.
Yep.
And standing next to it, nothing jumps out at you. Everything looks like it should be there. Like the proportions of the car when you stand back 20 feet from it are absolutely perfect. It is one of the coolest looking roadsters I've ever seen in my life. And it was all just come up with by them. Like they just built it. And
yes, everything looks like it's perfectly stamped, laser cut, like every little detail, like the door jamb lines up perfectly. Like it's yeah.
And everything's just like, everything just feels right on it. It's like people can build a 32 Ford that's, just using the 32 Ford body and have stuff that you just look at it and go like, why is that? Like, why that proportion's kind of weird. And like, there's literally, there's no bad angle. There's no detail. Like everything about this car is just immaculate. And they won battle with it. And like everybody else, whenever they saw that car rolled out of the trailer, if they were hoping for Battle of the Builders, had to have just been like, well, no.
Oh, fuck.
That was
a long year for nothing.
This was a fun year. And like, I don't know how many years they worked on that car, but it's absolutely, it's one of the craziest cars I've ever seen in person. We walked around the corner. It was in the Mother's Polishes booth. And I was just like, wait, like that's that car.
That's it. That's right there.
Yeah. And I was just absolutely blown away to see it in person. So, and that's just one of the, and it's just sitting there. There's not a rope around it. It's not up on the pedestal like it is during the show scene. It's just chilling there like it's a car.
Yeah.
And let's see what else. One of the companies that has had kind of like an up and down thing at SEMA was Holley. Holley owns like everything. 78 different companies.
Yeah.
They've formalized probably a year or two ago, becoming Holley Performance Brands as their official like company name now. Which I've kind of determined that whenever something you like gets the word brands in it, it's usually a bad sign.
It's not good. It's not a good sign.
But they had their booth was bigger than what it normally is, and it was split into like, there was like a hot rod one and an off-road one, because they have like a off-road suspension company now.
Of course.
Yeah. And like street rods, it was kind of like sectioned off by their different kind of sectors of the market that they're in. But the like kind of street and performance one had a 4th gen Camaro in it with a, I guess it's like an LS or LT4. That's like it's a blower, and it's basically just a out of the box factory engine that makes like 630 horsepower. It has a warranty and just idles and starts up and runs like normal. And this car will probably just lay waste to the tires through 4 gears.
Yeah.
And just black with a gray like 2-tone divider down the bottom of it, and on some Rocket racing wheels. And I was just like, yeah, I could do 4th gen life. And then I posted something about it, and got one of the replies that I got to it was, yeah, until I think about having to work on that thing with that engine halfway up under the windshield. I was like, yeah, there is that.
You don't think about that part.
Well, the good news is it's an LT4 with a warranty, so what could go wrong?
It's fine. You won't even need to do that. I still remember the time where I made a comment about doing the spark plugs in the LS Swap 240, and then my F body Trans Am buddy Trevor sent me a message. He's like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
Don't you ever complain about that.
You can see the back of your engine.
Yep. Yeah, it fits way better in 240 than it did in the car it came with.
He actually, he replied to me on that too, and he was like, "Is that an LT4? I think I need to look into this swap." He was like, "They definitely had to cut the cowl out of that car to do that." I was like, "Yeah, it's possible."
You don't need that part. It's fine.
Yeah.
It does. It does say in this from the front in this picture, it does look like it fits just nice. Just right where it's supposed to be.
It's kind of like looking at an LS and a Z. It's like, oh, you just look so cozy in there.
Just like it was meant to fit there.
Yeah. There's a 65 or 6 Mustang fastback drift car that I've seen off and on with like crazy wide flares. That was in a booth. It's like twin turbo LS, like bright laser blue, and this thing's got 5 or 6 inches of flare on both sides.
It does. I'll say it. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's not.
It's too much. It doesn't flow. You just threw these 12-inch long or wide flares on a fastback Mustang, and it doesn't work.
On the thing that I always because I'm an old man and I like to yell at clouds, I always look at these cars and go, how much tire does it have on it? And it's a drift car. It doesn't have that much tire on it, but it's just
as wide
for the sake. It's wide for the sake of wide. But then I'm also conflicted because it's like I really build like the way they finished out, the under the hood and interior and stuff. Like it's a super clean, like well put together kind of internet points kind of car.
Yeah. Well, I take one look at those wheels and go, ooh, I like those wheels.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would ever put them on, but I like them. And I can't think of a car I would like them on. I just like the wheels because they're like, they look like they're 3D printed. So they have like cutouts and I don't know. Anytime you see like a 3D printed thing now, like out of metal, it's like it's got like roots and like all those extra pockets and not natural like machined surfaces. So it's like they're I'm trying to think what I want to say, but like almost
organic.
Organic.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that wheel looks like to me.
Yeah. So then there's a whole section on like the South Hall upper floor. South Hall's 2 floors, and the upper floor had all the like tools and equipment and stuff in it. So there's like Hunter has all of their crazy tire machines where there was a guy demonstrating their like newest like mounting and balancing machines, and they had 4 tires there, and we got there like halfway through it, but he said, okay, we're toward the end of it. He's like balancing the 4th wheel and getting it ready to put back on the car. It had been 12 minutes from the time that he rolled them over, because the machine, like, so Hunter's machines, they're like just grabbing the wheel by the hub. They're not grabbing the outside of it at all.
Yep.
And then it's doing a lot of the process in like the older style machines. You've got to break the bead on the separate thing, which takes time. And then you got to put it up, and it takes time. And then it's like it's breaking the bead with it on the up on the machine.
Yes.
And then he's like taking that one off, throwing it on the balancer. They've got a thing that lifts it up to put it on the, like, there's like every step of it has something that lifts the wheel into place, in which you have to do that because an OEM like truck wheel right now weighs like 100 pounds with the tire on it. And so like they've got it all timed, like they've got it all set up to where it gives you the time that's remaining on that step. And then they call it like walk away time. So he's he's pulling one tire off the balancer and putting the next one on, and then going over and putting that one back on the car, and he knows how much time it is until the next things get done and stuff like that. I'm just looking at it like, well, this is
so
wild.
efficient. Yeah.
Yeah. But also, like, I've also watched a bunch of guys at Discount Tire using the regular old Coates machines and just like knocking crap out too. So,
Well, you could spend, I don't know, $50,000 on this tire swapping machine, or you can just hire some guy and he'll do it.
yeah. So the funny thing was the Hunter's deal on all of these machines was, hey, it's just like $57 a week. I'm like, oh yeah,
is this the 50-year mortgage thing?
Yeah, this is the Snap-on. It's the Snap-on business model. It's oh yeah, don't read the bottom part. Just look at the number at the top.
Did they give you a rough estimate on what the, like, if I wanted to pay cash for it today, what it would cost?
We didn't get that close because
you're not in the market. I get.
We have zero. The only someday I will have a shop that has enough space that I will buy some old ratty machine and put it in there just so I don't have to go down the road and get my stuff mounted. But
well, now that I got North End Wrench, and the guy that does my tires is actually storing a car in my shop right now. So the joke was,
that kind of entitles you to get a tire mounting every once in a while.
Yep. So the joke was that he can just keep his car here, and then I'll just get my tires mounted whenever I want. And then now that means I'm going to get my tires mounted weekly. Because like this year, every time I didn't do a Grid Life event, I would go there and be like, all right, you take these Kumos off and you put whatever shit wheels or tires I brought with me, and you put those on. And then next Tuesday, I'll be back here, and you can put them right back. So that's been our thing all year.
Yeah. Suddenly, I'm getting interested in drifting again. I feel like I could.
Yep. I'm gonna bring 8 wheels every week now instead of just 4.
He's like, I'll just come get the car. God damn it. So one of the wild things that was on that whole tool section was all of these like fabrication product companies. So there's
English wheels, like
frame table, fabrication tables.
Gotcha.
Big welding tables, big like full modular frame like box tables that are all of the like half-inch thick metal with the holes in it, so you can like put the
pegs and all that stuff.
Put all the jig stuff in it and everything. Like if you want to spend $35,000 on a frame table, they would sign you up.
You sure
right
can.
Yep. So there's one in there that there's a group, I don't remember what the name of it was, that they had a unicorn replica that apparently they crashed. Go figure.
That doesn't sound like something they would do.
Yeah, and so their replica of it was up on this table with like the raw metal big flares, and then the front of that car has this big crazy air dam on it that I'm like reasonably sure the actual car is fiberglass, but they've replicated it all in, I don't know if it's aluminum or steel, but I think it was aluminum, but just like wild to stand next to a car that's even just a replica of that car.
Yeah.
You know?
Wild.
And then they did have in like the kind of main lobby of the central hall, they had the truck, the Huna truck, in a little setup in a corner. And then there was a wall at his like race shop in Salt Lake City that's the Ain't Care wall, that it's like a neon sign that says Ain't Care and has like the definition of it of just like zero mechanical sympathy, just doing whatever it takes to, you know, win or get the shot or whatever, you know, whatever the mission is for that day. And then it's just lined with like exploded wheels and crumpled up sheet metal and so like I've
broken axles,
seen that,
broken brake rotors, everything.
It's like I've seen that because the racing division shop in Salt Lake is just this giant warehouse, and they have like shipping containers in it to make like offices and storage areas and stuff. And it's super cool. It's like everything else that Ken did.
Yeah.
Of just this like kind of like purposely like kind of bare bones, but super like intentional with how it looks and everything. You know, like that wall is just a section of a shipping container that's painted the Hoonigan blue. And it was really cool to see that in person after having seen it in videos for so long, you know. And I feel like I've gone to too many Cars and Coffees lately to not get a little bit cynical about the Ken Block remembrances, but also it was really cool to see that truck and that stuff on that wall. So
that's again totally different than the remembrance stickers.
Yeah, KB forever, man.
Yep.
Just don't do a burnout when you leave, please.
Yep. You're undoing everything by doing that.
Yeah. So Dodge had like a pretty decent setup that had like a bunch of Jeeps, and then they unveiled a drag pack version of the new Charger, which is like the most hideously ugly car I've ever seen.
It's not good. Is that the electric one, or does it actually have an engine?
No, this one's a Hemi. It's like a Whipple Hemi, I think, but there's something the proportions on that Charger, like I haven't seen that many of them on the road, but it looks like they tried to like maybe pull from like the 66 to 67 Charger with like the big fastback look.
Yep. But
when you see it on the road, like the trunk looks like it's shorter than the rest of the car. It kind of looks like a dog that it's like worried that you're mad at it. It's tucking its tail a little bit.
Yeah, the proportions are weird. And then it's also like huge. The car itself is huge.
It's quite long, and it's a 2-door. And
but it's big enough to be a 4-door easily.
The
proportions are weird.
Yeah, I'm super confused as to who it's for and why it looks like it does, and it just Are
they still doing the Challenger and the Charger, or is it just the one car now?
Just the Charger. Yeah, they killed. This one's a new platform. They finally killed the LX platform, I believe.
Okay. Well, it's like they took the ideas of both of them, but not the good ones, and just like made one car.
Yeah, and it's like there's a little bit like whenever you see one that's a solid color that doesn't have the drag pack graphic, it like there's some like 68 Charger kind of feel to it, but just the proportions of the roof relative to the trunk and everything, it just something.
The modern safety stuff has not helped its aesthetics.
That's probably also true.
Yeah, it's too round. It just looks fat. It's kind of how I feel about the 04 350Z. Like, I like Z's, but it's also just kind of like there's a lot they could have done with this to make it more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. So then they also had there was a truck that was built for the Roadkill Nights thing that's like a square body Dodge that has like 1,000 horsepower version of the Hurricane Straight 6 engine in it. This is like a red, like patinaed,
late
80s Dodge with a 6-cylinder in it. And it's like legit quick, I think.
Yeah, it looks like a properly built engine.
And then the other fun thing from their booth was they like made a big deal of, oh, we're going back NASCAR racing. We're going to the NASCAR trucks. And so they've got a Dodge front end on this NASCAR truck that just looks like all the other NASCAR trucks. And the NASCAR truck spec engine is an Ilmor LS based V8.
That sounds about right.
And then, so to move outside for a minute, Hoonigan had a big setup outside in an attempt, kind of seemingly to do the, hey, remember Hoonigan? We used to be cool kind of thing.
Yep.
And they had So Zach that worked at Hoonigan has started a series called Burnout Wars, where it's like a traveling event series that it's just a burnout pit. And it's like cash prizes and like people are like real serious about it. And like there's a pro class and then like a sportsman class and like it's
Okay.
legit like
But it's just burnouts.
people are way into it and then yeah, it's just tip it in and do a burnout.
Huh.
So Zach was running burnouts in the Hoonigan deal from like 11 to noon and 3 to 4 each day of the show. And so like we were out one of the days on the opposite side of the convention center during one of these shows and it's like it smells like tire smoke and we're like a mile away from that. So there was Australian guys, there was we saw like a Monaro, like a GTO
Yep.
that had like a 1471 blower hanging out of the hood and then it's on just like 245 all seasons on the back. So one of the days we were out by that, the Dodge truck was sitting there like staged up like it was going to be in the burnout contest. I'm like, yeah, the Dodge guys don't care. They'll go blow up the Chevy engine.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
What do we have to lose? And they legitimately got in there with it and like did some hellacious burnouts with it.
All right then.
But so one of the things in all of the years that I was going to SEMA, Toyo Tires does, they call it Tread Pass, that it's way in the back between two of the halls, like outside. I'd never found my way back there. I'd never figured out for sure where it was. And we finally found it this time around. And it's always a mix of like well-known builders doing crazy cars that are kind of debuting at the show. I think that's generally what it is.
Yeah. Larry Chen always seems to find his way over there.
So yeah, Larry always does a bunch of stuff from it. And there was one of the coolest 240s I've seen anywhere there. It's like dark green.
Mm-hmm.
It's wide body.
Yeah, real clean.
Yeah, super clean. I think it was I don't know if it was an RB or a 2J. I think the hood was closed on it whenever we were there, but
It's got a hater pipe going out the roof. Or the roof, the hood.
that'd be impressive.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a 67 or 8 Camaro that is like wide bodied on like the top half of the fender and the quarter. And it's got like carbon, like floor, like spill plates coming off the sides, like a lot of like cool kind of racy looking aero stuff to it. And had an LS with a Magna Charger sticking through the hood. And it was like, it's a super cool build. And then I like was looking into it more and it's a group for like 18 to 24-year-old kids that's around Los Angeles.
Oh shit.
Called like Lost Angels, something. But, so they had that, they had a square body crew cab Chevy truck that was like a desert truck. And then I think like a early 50s Chevy truck that were all builds that they've done at this program that were all on the show.
Wow.
And all of them were super nice, like super cool looking. So like, it was one of those, like this car, like it caught I had seen pictures of it before we got over there to it. And then like, it was like the body work on it and everything is really cool in person. Like it's hard to do a 67 or 8 Camaro different and not screw it up.
Yeah, so there's like one way to do it right.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it that way, it's real hard to make it likable.
Yeah. And this was legit cool. This looks like a cool modern interpretation of, like pulling from like kind of time attack DTM kind of aero type stuff. And yeah, that was super impressive to see it. and there's an NSX in that section that
There
had
always
like
is.
a Super GT scoop on it. And if you want to make me more into an NSX,
But yeah,
put
do
a
that.
Super GT scoop on it.
Yep.
Yeah, Honda's booth had just a bunch of race cars in it, which is
Smart. That's the way to do it.
as we've talked about. If you put boring stock vehicles in your booth, I'm not going to be that impressed by it. If you put a Super GT, like an actual Super GT prototype car in there that's all carbon and has like crazy aero all over it, I'm 100% in.
Into it. Love it.
Yeah, and they had a Civic that runs an IMSA that had it still had all the tire marks and everything from running. I'm guessing probably at Road Atlanta.
Yeah,
the
Petit Le
last
Mans, I
round.
assume.
Which I think this one's that one's from the lower series, so it would have just been like a
Pilot
2 hour race
challenge or
something,
whatever.
but yeah, the pilot challenge. Yeah, but and then they also had there's a Civic Type R rally car prototype that I don't think I got a picture of it in there. But,
Okay.
they had it out during the week of the U.S. Grand Prix in Austin at Rally Ready.
Oh, yeah.
And so Texas Dave and then Liam Lawson and I think maybe Yuki or somebody were driving it at the Rally Ranch, just testing it. And then Dave had an Instagram post talking about it, and he's like, so I said that we should road trip it to SEMA as a proving ground for it. And apparently I'm the only one that knew that I was joking. So we drove it 1,200 miles to get it out here.
That seems like something that would happen to Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they just road tripped this thing and then hosed it down before loading it into the show on Monday afternoon.
Perfect.
Yeah. So there's a shop called Ring Brothers that makes crazy high end old car built like muscle cars, trucks. They do all different kinds of stuff. It's an Aston Martin DB something that they basically it's another one of these cases of they just rebuilt the entire car. It seems like
Just started from scratch, basically.
yeah, and it's it's another one of those things of standing next to something and going it. And I'd seen pictures of it, and it kind of didn't do that much for me in pictures, but in person, it was really it just had this crazy presence to it because it's just low and wide, and it has these super muscle car lines, but it's a British car, and there's parts of it that
I never would have guessed that was an Aston Martin.
yeah. So there's looking at it from the outside to me, it looks like a 69 Boss 302 Mustang and a 240Z kind of stayed at the bar a little bit too late.
Yeah, there's some there's some early gen Corvette stuff in there too that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
The lines are kind of looking that way. It's super neat.
Yeah, and it's just yet another one of those that you stand there and look at it and go how where does this, because I have a hard time looking at a car and seeing past what the original lines are on it, and just maybe we can just pull some of those out and make them wider or crease them a little bit or something like that, just to take an entire car and just completely redo all of it is just wild to me.
Yep.
So. And then we also got out and saw all of our Optima buddies. So they were doing the invitational around the show again this year. So the last several years they've done competition in the show for there's several years that they did autocross and speed stop as part of the show because they have a huge lot on the south end of the convention center that's just blocked off. That's just they called it Optima Unleashed this year.
Okay.
So they're doing the Ultimate Streetcar Series is running there, but then they've got like their sponsored drifters and off road and all that kind of stuff doing burnout demos and general shenanigans throughout the week. So the Ultimate Streetcar stuff this year, they just did the speed stop during the show and did the autocross and the road course the weekend leading into the show. So everybody went to Spring Mountain Motorsports Park in Pahrump, which is like an hour north of Vegas, and tore their car all to pieces and then had to bring it back and put it into the SEMA show afterwards. So
Perfect.
like there was more than a couple of cars that had like nice carbon fiber splitters sticking out the front with black duct tape on them on one corner or the other. And like, you know, yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So it was cool to catch up with all of our buddies around that and get to watch them run the speed stop stuff and whip the camera out and got some decent pictures of that.
Yeah.
While we were hanging out there.
Did you make it to SEMA Fest? I forgot that they added the concerts.
Yeah, so we I would have the headliner this time was Queens of the Stone Age, and I am 100% down for a Queens of the Stone Age show, but we left Thursday afternoon and the festival thing was Friday afternoon. So but also I kind of like, if I'm going to go see a Queens show, I kind of just want to go see it. I don't really need there to be cars drifting behind me while it happens.
No. I'd be fine with just going to a Queens of the Stone Age show. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I didn't see anything from what it looked like. I don't know what the crowd for that looks like or is, because like I think I don't know if tickets are separate for that or if you get in with your admission to the show.
I want to say they were separate.
I'm pretty sure they were separate, and I just after spending 4 days in Las Vegas, spending more money.
You're ready to call it a week.
Yeah. So, one of the only other things that really stood out to me was Liberty Walk did a third gen Camaro, and so to call back to the first year that I went in 2015, we left the show on Friday, like while they were doing the parade of the cars out, because we basically we'd go get something to eat and then come back and start tearing down the booth.
Yep.
And there's a row of Ferraris and Lamborghinis that are they're dragging on the ground. They're 1.5 feet wider than stock. They've got crazy 3-piece wheels. They're just two-step, and it's all Liberty Walk cars. And like that made such an impression on me. And so to see them doing not just an American car, a third gen Camaro was just kind of cool. The car has some things about it that I don't. Seeing it in person, it was kind of like, I would have liked to have seen, like, same with that wide body I was talking about earlier too. I was like, I'd like to see that done slightly differently. Yeah, I think the flares on it to me are kind of whatever. There's something weird about the nose on it I can't. It looks too much like a truck. It's flat. It's a little bit flat, and I can't tell if it's just because it's taller than normal because it's got some like additional mass on the bottom of it, or I don't think it comes out as long either. Like it looks like it's shortened up or something. Yeah, it's kind of like it's like a snub nose. Yeah, but overall it was still good. It's a Liberty Walk Camaro. Yeah. There's a bunch of random Fast and the Furious movie cars all over the place. That shouldn't surprise anybody. Yeah. So one booth had like 5 or 6 cars, including like Dom's RX-7 from the first movie. Oh, man. And then Jesse's Volkswagen. Of course. The easiest one to come by. So, you can bet that every group text that I'm in got a Jesse don't do it text that day.
Followed by asking you to go take a picture to see if it has brakes.
Yeah, it did.
Oh,
yeah,
boring.
it had like, I think it must have been a power stop caliper or something because it was bright shiny red. So, yeah, I've seen that shiny red and I've turned it black before. So, and then the 240, 280, 350, 370 newsy nationals. Like every time I turned around, there was a ton of 240, 280 like early gen Zs. And then a bunch of 350s and 370s and
Well,
a
of
few
course.
new ones too. So that was wild to me. It was like I because we were, there's always kind of like what's the car of the show this year. Like several years ago, it was Broncos in like 2017 or 2018. It was like every booth had a Bronco in it. I was like, yep, you guys make drag racing parts. Why do you have a Bronco? And then this year, like the thing that I just saw over and over and over again, I felt like every time I turned around, it was a Z. It was
Interesting.
just weird. There was one that this guy had done. So I was expecting like every time I turned around to see AI stuff, just because that's
the world we live in. Yep.
Yeah, that's everything right now. And I think the only thing that I really noticed was a guy had a really well done white 240 that was like flared on some old school JDM wheels. And his thing was this like interface that he'd built into the car where you just talked to it and asked it questions and it used AI to answer you about like, what's the status of the car? What are your specifications? And you could just ask it like random like history questions and stuff.
Interesting.
I heard him explaining it to somebody as we were walking by and I was just like, I like that car. I don't like what you did to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, getting around SEMA whenever there's a trade show going on with 200,000 people is an interesting endeavor whenever you're not doing it for work. It's like there's a monorail in Vegas that goes along several of the hotels on the strip.
Oh,
and we were just like, oh, for $25 we can get a 3-day pass on this and we'll just be all set. And we left the second morning to go to the show and figured out that we waited way too late.
Oh, shoot.
And it took us like, the convention center is like 3 miles away from where we're staying at. And it took us a solid hour.
Oh, no.
From the time we got in line for the monorail till the time we actually got off of it. And we were like crammed into a monorail car for a solid half hour of that with like 300 people in this one car. It was bordering on my like I'm getting out of this situation breaking point.
I'm picturing the train system that they have at the Atlanta airport. That's what I'm picturing right now when you describe that.
Yeah, essentially, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I do this again, since podcast is going and we're going to be able to get into the show earlier than the 9 o'clock that it opens for the general public.
Yeah. Having the media pass for these types of things is worth it.
Yeah,
oh,
so
I get to be there at 8 when everyone else gets here at 9. Yeah, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would always before, since I had an exhibitor badge, I could get in whenever. I don't know what, like, I'm sure there was a time that they would start letting you in, but
Sure.
like, I'll leave the hotel at 7 o'clock or 6:30 in the morning and just go over there and kill an hour walking around with no one around. I'm like, turns out show's way more pleasant that way.
Yep. That media hour that PRI does was always worth it too. Just for the opportunity to walk around and not have to be bumping shoulders with people.
Yeah. Yeah. By like 10 o'clock on Thursday morning, I looked at my dad and I was like, you know what? Kind of tired of people.
I get that.
Kind of ready to go back to where the population density is a little bit lower.
Yeah, I'm sick of saying, "Oh, excuse me."
Oh no, there's no. Don't even bother. And it's so funny carrying around a camera and like I just time it around the people.
Yeah,
like I don't
like you can't expect them to stay.
Yeah, just do your thing. And like the people that do, it's almost like whenever you're riding a bike in a city, and like the people that try to be courteous to you are a bigger pain in the ass than the ones that are just rude.
No, just go, just go.
Yeah.
You're taking way more time now.
Yeah. So yeah, overall it was still what I remembered, but it was really cool to be back. And
I'll say it's still on my list to go because I mean, just the cars, obviously, the people less obvious as to why I don't, why I wouldn't want to go.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, you should definitely make a plan to go out there because everything's dumb expensive, and
well, of course,
it's just that all of those YouTube videos that I had popping up about how like Vegas is pricing everybody out and everything.
Yep.
It's
like, true.
There was a lot more, like little restaurants and stores and stuff that are just empty compared to the last time that I was there, 2 years ago. And it's just kind of wild to see.
Yeah.
But also, they're building a Hard Rock hotel right on the strip that's going to have a 700-foot tall guitar as one of the hotel towers. So,
well, I'll bring everybody back. So,
yeah, something like that.
I told Jess I'd like to go back and go to like Rock Racing Enterprises. There's a Shelby Museum, stuff like that. So that's all stuff that like I didn't get a chance to go like the one time I was there. So I would like to go back and see that type of stuff. And then if you do it around SEMA, you kind of do a gigantic car thing and get her completely sick of cars right before the winter season. Yeah.
Then she has a couple months to get back over it and then be excited to come to Grid Life again.
Honestly, ever since getting the radios working and getting her involved with that's made a huge difference on her level of excitement.
Yeah,
and genuinely, she's been very helpful with that.
I did not realize that there was a Brock Racing Enterprises outside of Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think it's like that's where it's based out of. It's like it's their headquarters.
Anderson. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so it's right there.
Yeah, I've been to the Optima would always do the road rally on one of the nights, and it ended up at the Shelby place, which is more of just kind of I think it might have moved since we were doing it, but there was like the museum part of it is fairly small.
I'm sure.
And then it's just it looks like a giant car dealership service area that they're just making $80,000 cars into $200,000 cars.
That sounds right. Yeah.
But yeah, there was it was interesting because Hoonigan had their setup outside.
Yep.
Optima had their setup, and then there was a whole other setup over by the West Hall that I never even saw that apparently just had like straight takeover stuff going on in it. Like I saw a video from one of the, I don't know if it was like as the show was closing or if it was on like Friday night as part of the festival thing or what, but there's like 7 or 8 cars, trucks, and then like a semi truck that are all just doing donuts all together.
Huh.
And the semi truck like slides to a stop up against the nose of the S10 and just knocks the whole front off the S10.
Oh shoot! But also to the surprise of no one.
Yeah, but so like Officer Dan that does stuff with GK Tech had posted a thing about like, why are we just doing sanctioned takeover stuff at SEMA? Like this seems bad.
It seems like the wrong message that you're sending at your otherwise professional event.
Yeah. And like I get, it's cool because like originally Ford was the first one to do like, have cars doing demo stuff outside. And then it's kind of morphed into these kind of multiple spaces that are doing it because everybody figured out that, this is a way that you can get attention.
Right.
It's a built-in just magnet for people. So, but But yeah. In conclusion, the SEMA still the SEMA show.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It hadn't changed in 2 years that much. So, but yep, it was a cool trip, and yep, as I just said, I recommend that anybody that is into cars goes and checks it out, because it's the best of the best and the worst of the worst, and it's all in one place. And
I mean, what more could you ask for?
yep,
and like you didn't take any time spent, getting pictures of like the worst of the worst.
I do have a picture of one of the giant lifted trucks that has like a 5-inch spacer on the wheel and no front drive shaft. That was the one. But I don't.
Yeah,
like I know a good portion of that whole part of the scene at this point is to get people to take pictures of how bad it is and then get it exposure. So it's kind of like don't feed the trolls. Like,
you're not wrong. Yeah, so any publicity is still good publicity. So
yeah.
I saw so many videos of just like, I think it would have been Friday after the show, of like when the gigantic trucks are trying to leave, and there's always an accident, and it's just they always end up they always end up running over somebody's poor car. Yep.
But we saw a couple of them going on the strip one night, and it was like, I hope you like have a camera on the front of that thing or something, like, because there's just no way.
Yeah, like, you just can't.
The roof of the car next to you is below your tube steps. Like, what? Like, as somebody who drives a really short car around a bunch of really tall trucks, I don't like you.
Yeah.
But yep, I think we checked the box on it for probably a couple of years, but we'll have to make it a once in a while thing, just to
I think that's
catch up with all of our buddies as much as anything. So
yep, that's the way to do it. And I think that it doesn't sound like a lot of people we know, besides like Grid Life Core, is going to be at PRI this year either. So maybe next year will be the year we all come back.
Yeah. I don't know. It's cold.
No, it's only 44 currently, and we're in a heat spell.
Yeah.
It's been cold all week.
Yeah, we have a trip to New York planned to watch a concert in February, and I'm already trying to mentally prepare myself for that, because we've done that once before in December, and February is probably even worse.
Yeah, January would probably be the worst. February is probably right there behind it.
Yeah.
Where in New York?
The city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's fine.
But
it'll be cold.
Yeah, I said when we were there in December, if we went again in the winter, that I was just going to buy the $1,500 Canada Goose parka and just be done with it. And I guess I'm going to have to put my money where my mouth is on that one.
Buy once, cry once.
Yeah.
No. Or you could do what Jess does. She bought a heated vest, and then she bought a spare battery pack, so she can just run it all day.
Yeah.
Or you can just move to Columbus, Ohio, where it's 74 and sunny all the time.
Mm-hmm. You just said it was snowing.
It wasn't. It was a dusting. It's fine.
Yeah, no.
It's gone.
It was 75 degrees today. Actually, I think it was like 77 degrees today. I'll stick with.
That would be nice.
I'll stick with mine.
We had a high of like 50 something, and that was nice compared to where it's been. But as you could tell, I'm getting tired. My voice is going away. I need some sleep.
That was a lot of SEMA talk. So.
I like it. Every time you do that, though, it's like, damn it, I should have gone. But
that's what. Yeah, last year I was looking through all the pictures of it and going like, "Yep, I used to go to that every year,
every single year."
And every year I was like, ugh, SEMA. And then got out there and it's like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, it'd be, and let's say you were always working previously, whereas now you were attending. So I think that probably makes a huge difference too.
Yeah, I think it was, I think I said this whenever we were having like 2 days of walking the show and we were out there for Optima, it was way easier to just stand in a booth and talk about the same thing over and over again all day than it was to try to walk the show and actually like see everything.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then also had the really weird experience of going back by the Traxxas booth and like seeing all of the new stuff that they released and everything. It was just kind of like trippy. But
Did you have friends and coworkers that you remembered, or was it all like a completely different group?
oh no, yeah, it's still mostly the same. I think there was only like one guy there that I didn't know who he was, but
Oh, nice.
he somehow was like, "You used to work here, right?" I'm like, "Who?
That's
Did they put up a wanted poster or something?"
yeah, he's not allowed back in the building.
Arrest this man.
You're like the shoplifter behind the counter. So let's get your picture.
It's probably more like the bulletin board at the post office. It's got like 27 different pictures on it.
Yep.
There's no shortage of us that have moved on other things at this point. So
It happens. It happens.
but yep, good times.
Hell yeah.
Go to Vegas, get some overpriced food. That's fun.
Or go to In-N-Out Burger. Did you go to In-N-Out Burger?
No, we have those here.
Oh, okay.
If I go to California, I'll do an In-N-Out Burger.
That's
But
fair.
It's better. It's better when you're on Pacific time, but it's even better if you're in a zip code that starts with a 9.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I guess I've only ever had it in Vegas, but
yeah. One of the first trips I did for work in California, we like got off the plane in Santa Ana or something, and like we were driving to where the show was. I was like, all right, we're stopping at In-N-Out, and it didn't have an inside area, but it didn't matter because it was 73 degrees and sunny, and we just sat under a palm tree and like had homeless people walking around begging us for money, and you know,
it's California. Yeah,
that's the California experience. So.
all right, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. Thanks for doing a show and telling me about SEMA.
Like us on Facebook and Instagram,
and see all these pictures.
Hit up the group.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do a gallery.
Perfect. Yeah, then
thingy.
We can talk about it on the 10/10ths Consortium, which is our group on Facebook that gets memes shared and fun other crap. Just good vibes.
Yep.
We'll catch everybody else next week.